the messiest YouTube channel on the planet. The Messy Channel Show with DJ Kelly. Subscribe, like, and share.
Ready for a deep dive into a story that proves with a whole lot of talent and a little bit of magic, anything is possible?
Always up for that.
We're talking about the one and only Christian Keyes, actor, writer, producer. This guy's done it all.
And he's captivated audiences every step of the way. His journey, it's really a testament to the power of resilience, mentorship, really owning your narrative.
It's interesting, right? When you look at Keyes' life, storytelling pops up again and again. Like it became this common thread, helping him navigate challenges, find his voice, and ultimately achieve some serious success in a really tough industry.
Absolutely. Think about it. Using writing and performing as outlets, especially for someone who went through what he did, it's like those became his superpowers, helping him cope, grow, even thrive, You can't underestimate the impact of creative expression, especially when you're dealing with a difficult past.
And he definitely wasn't dealt an easy hand, right? We're talking about a guy who went through the foster care system. Imagine that kind of instability, that uncertainty, especially as a kid. Yet, even in those tough times, pencil and paper were his constants, his escape, his way of making sense of the world. It's like those early experiences, they fueled his creative fire.
It's amazing, isn't it? The way our experiences, even the tough ones, can shape us, almost like they become this wellspring of creativity. And for Keyes, writing, performing, those became his ways of not just telling his story, but finding his voice and building resilience along the way.
And you see that resilience even in his teenage years. He actually made this deal with his first foster mom, keep his grades up, and she'd let him get involved in activities, things like football and track. Just the small act, it shows you the drive this guy had. Even back then, like he was determined to carve out some control in his own life.
Talk about self-awareness. For someone that young to recognize the importance of agency, of having a say in his own life, even when things were far from ideal, that's pretty impressive. And it's inspiring to see how that determination continued when he found some stability, some positive male role models with his second family. You could call that a turning point for him.
It was, and that's when his artistic ambitions really start to take shape. What's interesting is that his initial dream, he wanted to be a singer. Idolized artists like Babyface and Brian McKnight.
Wow. From pencil and paper to belting out melodies on stage. Talk about a journey.
Right. But even though that musical path might seem like a detour on his road to becoming an actor and writer, those early aspirations, they actually played a key role. Think about it. Performance, stage presence, connecting with an audience, those are all skills honed through music that seamlessly transferred to his visual storytelling.
It's like those early days, singing in front of a mirror, were unknowingly prepping him for the world of stage and screen. And that's where things start to get really interesting.
He starts acting in local productions, eventually lands the lead role in Not Another Day Goes By back in 2004. And this is where fate, a little sprinkle of destiny comes into play.
Because unbeknownst to him sitting in the audience one night, Tyler Perry.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time. Right? But here's the thing. It wasn't just luck. Keyes absolutely killed it in that performance.
Oh, I bet.
Perry even said that Keyes wasn't just reciting lines, he was the character.
Wow.
That authenticity, that raw talent, it caught Perry's eye big time.
Understandably so. And that encounter, that's when things really took off for Keyes, right? I mean, we're talking about a one-on-one mentorship with Tyler Perry, someone known for his incredible ability to spot and nurture talent. That's huge in any field.
Absolutely huge. And to Keyes' credit, he didn't just coast on that early success. He talks about what he learned from Perry, the importance of professionalism, the ins and outs of production, always bringing your A game. Those are lessons that resonate far beyond Hollywood.
For sure. It's that dedication, that willingness to learn and grow that really sets apart the dreamers from the doers. And you see that drive, that entrepreneurial spirit in Keyes as well. He wasn't content just acting in other people's projects. He had stories of his own he wanted to share with the world.
And what a story he had. He comes up with this concept called Black Magic Ladies Night. Starts shopping it around, but as anyone who spent 5 minutes in entertainment knows, rejection, that's just part of the game.
A rite of passage, you could say. The real measure of someone is how they handle those setbacks, right? You get turn those no's into fuel for your creative fire.
And Keyes. He took those rejections and, well, he showed them, rewrote, refined, even made a really smart move. He turned the whole concept into a book.
Wow, talk about a go-getter.
He knew that sometimes to get your vision out there, you got to forge your own path.
Absolutely. And speaking of forging paths, remember that deal Tyler Perry signed with BET Plus back in 2019?
Oh yeah, that was a game changer for so many people.
Talk about perfect timing. Keys has this project he's passionate about, and Perry, he needs compelling content for this new platform.
It's like the stars aligned. He pitches the show, which, by the way, eventually gets renamed to All of the Queen's Men. Since Bet already had a show called Ladies' Night, and they pick it up. Fast forward to now, and that show is enjoying its third season, which in the world of television is a pretty big deal.
Huge.
It shows you what happens when you combine persistence with a knack for spotting opportunity, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it reminds us that sometimes you got to be flexible, you got to be willing to adapt in order to truly succeed.
It really does. And that's what I find so inspiring about Keys. He could have just ridden that wave of All the Queen's Men, but this guy, he's like a creative machine, always got another project brewing. Remember how we were talking about his early musical aspirations?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? He recently dropped an album. Get involved.
No way. Really?
Talk about full circle, right?
It's amazing how those early passions never really leave us. Sometimes they got to chill out for a bit while we explore other stuff, but they're always there, waiting for the right time to make a comeback. And the fact that he's already dropping hints about what he's got planned beyond BT plus him, that tells you everything you need to know about his drive. This is a guy who's constantly looking to evolve, to push those boundaries.
I love that. It makes you think about your own life, right? Those moments where you're like, what if I'd gone for it? What if I hadn't given up on that dream?
Absolutely. Christian Key's story is like a big neon sign flashing. It's never too late. It's never too late to reconnect with those passions, to take a chance on yourself, to rewrite your own story. It's not always going to be sunshine and roses, though, right? There are going to be bumps in the road, detours, setbacks, maybe even a rejection or two. It's how we handle those challenges, how we learn and adapt that really defines our journey.
So for everyone listening, think about a time in your own life where you had to overcome an obstacle. Maybe you had to adjust your approach, find a new path to reach your goal. Did you embrace those detours? Did those unexpected turns lead to something even better than you could have imagined?
It's those moments of resilience, those leaps of faith that shape us into the people we are today. And hey, you never know, your story of perseverance, your willingness to embrace the unexpected, that might be the very thing that inspires someone else down the line.
That's the power of a good story. It connects us, inspires us, reminds us that anything is possible if we're brave enough to chase our dreams. And on that note, we're wrapping up this deep dive into the incredible journey of Christian Keys. We hope you walk away feeling inspired, motivated, and maybe even a little ready to rewrite your own story. Till next time, keep exploring, keep dreaming big, and keep those aha moments coming. Okay, so get this. Remember back in 2023, that whole thing with actor Christian Keys?
Oh, yeah.
He made those allegations against, like, a billionaire in Hollywood, heavily implying it was Tyler Perry.
Right. About unwanted advances and...
Yeah, and trying to, like, silence him.
Yes, it was a huge story. Definitely got people talking, especially in the Black community. I mean, those were some serious accusations, really made you think about the power dynamics at play, especially for Black actors trying to make it in Hollywood.
And now there's this new documentary, Maxine's Monster, Surviving Tyler Perry, claiming to expose everything. And let me tell you, the details are wild.
Yeah, what's the latest on that?
So just to quickly recap, Keys went on Instagram Live back in 23, right?
Oh.
And he's seeing this unnamed billionaire, again, everyone's thinking Tyler Perry offered him $100,000.
What?
Basically to strip naked.
Oh, wow.
Keys presented it as, not necessarily about sex, but still super inappropriate, right?
Yeah.
And get this, he also said he was offered a car but refused, trying to, hold on to his morals and all that.
Yeah, and I think that's what resonated with a lot of people. It was like this David and Goliath situation.
Yeah.
You had this relatively unknown actor standing up to a Hollywood heavyweight, but then, this documentary pops up and things get a little murky.
Exactly. So this YouTube video we're diving into, right? They're saying the documentary's executive producer has evidence that completely contradicts Keys' story.
Like what?
They're claiming they have the registration papers for this mid-level luxury vehicle, and get this, the dates line up. 2007, 2008, which is right around when these alleged incidents with Perry were supposed to have gone down. Oh, but wait, there's more. This executive producer is also claiming to have personally seen Keys driving around LA in that very same car.
Whoa. Okay, that's pretty damning.
Yeah.
If that's true, It definitely throws a wrench in Key's whole narrative of refusing any gifts or payouts.
Right. It makes you question that whole NDA thing. Like, did he accept a big payout after all? And if he did, what does that mean legally, Especially if he's breaking an NDA by speaking out.
Yeah, violating an NDA can have some serious consequences. If the documentary's claims check out, things could get messy.
For sure. And as if that wasn't crazy enough, this executive producer drops another bombshell. They say they saw Keys with Perry at Oprah Winfrey's place.
No way.
Yeah. For one of those super black Hollywood A-list kind of parties.
Oh, wow.
The YouTuber even read an email that this executive producer supposedly sent, detailing the whole encounter. But remember, Keys' whole thing was, he wanted nothing to do with Perry.
Right, refusing to be his arm candy.
Exactly. Something just doesn't add up.
Definitely raises a lot of questions. What are the motivations here? Is this someone trying to capitalize on a sensitive situation, for personal gain? Or are we about to see a powerful figure held accountable? It's hard to say. It's what's the truth,
Yeah.
So hard to tell these days.
Totally. And what really gets me? It's we're so quick to judge, especially online. It's easy to get caught up in the court of public opinion, but we got to remember, things aren't always what they seem.
Absolutely. It's crucial to remember that due process exists for a reason. Everyone deserves a fair hearing before we jump to conclusions, right?
100%. And it makes you think, if these allegations against Keys turn out to be false, does that, diminish the experiences of people who have actually been harassed or abused?
That's the dangerous thing about false accusations. It can make it harder for people with legitimate claims to be heard and believed.
Exactly. But then again, if Keys is telling the truth, this Maxine's Monster thing, if it's legit, could really rock Tyler Perry's world.
It really could. We've seen these kinds of reckonings before, right? It's like when all those accusations against Harvey Weinstein came out, it opened the floodgates and suddenly everyone was sharing their stories.
Yeah. You think this could be a watershed moment for Tyler Perry's production company?
It's definitely possible. Especially if Maxine's Monster has the evidence to back up these claims. And if other actors, like you mentioned Lance Gross, if they come forward too, that could really be a game changer.
Totally. Makes you wonder, though, about Tyler Perry. He's got such a huge presence in Hollywood. Could he have been using that power to silence people?
It's certainly a question worth asking. Power dynamics like that can create environments where people feel pressured to stay silent. They might be afraid to speak up, afraid of losing their job, their career.
Right, or facing backlash. It's a tough situation all around. It really makes you think about how we, as viewers, as fans, how we engage with these kinds of stories. It's we have all this information at our fingertips, but figuring out what's true, it's almost like a full-time job.
Right. You really got to be careful these days, especially with social media. It's so easy for things to get twisted and taken out of context.
Totally. And I think it's important to remember, with all these stories, all these allegations, there are real people involved, real lives being affected.
That's something that often gets lost in all the noise, isn't it? We can't forget that.
For sure. This whole situation, it makes you wonder about the bigger picture. Could this be a turning point for Hollywood?
It's possible. Public pressure can be a powerful force for change, right? But it has to be done the right way. We need to make sure people feel safe to speak out, but we also need to make sure there's due process.
Right, I gotta find that balance. So, this documentary, Maxine's Monster, assuming it comes out, do you think it could force Hollywood to face some uncomfortable truths?
I think it has the potential, for sure. Even if some of the claims turn out to be false, it still shines a light on the importance of transparency and accountability.
This whole thing with Christian Keyes, Tyler Perry, this documentary, it's been wild. What's your biggest takeaway from all of this? What's that one thought you want to leave our listeners with?
That's a good question. I think for me, it just highlights the importance of staying informed, staying critical, and being willing to sit with the uncertainty. Sometimes there aren't easy answers.
That's such an important reminder. Well said. Well, as we wait to see what happens with this story, with Maxine's Monster, it's clear this isn't just a Hollywood scandal. It's about power. It's about accountability. And it's about all of us doing our part to create a more just and equitable world. Until next time, keep asking the tough questions and keep searching for the truth wherever it may lead.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. You are not going to believe this one. This story is wild. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Tyler Perry and actor Christian Keyes.
This one is juicy.
It is juicy. We're talking accusations, conflicting stories, so much intrigue.
Yeah, the documentary.
And a documentary, yes, allegedly coming out Thanksgiving Day.
That's right.
Maxine's Monster.
Yeah.
Surviving Tyler Perry. And we've heard about all this from SandraRose.com. Also, the MVMO channel on YouTube did a whole breakdown of this. So those are our sources.
Yeah, those are good sources.
Yeah, they're out there. So this whole thing is about Christian Keyes,
Right.
And he had that Instagram Live last year where he accused this unnamed billionaire, right?
Yeah.
Of sexual harassment.
Heavily implying it was Tyler Perry.
Heavily implying it's Tyler Perry.
That's right.
Okay. And people were like, oh, my God. He said that he shut down the advances and even was offered a car and $100,000.
$100,000.
To be quiet about it.
Yeah. He really set himself up as, this man of faith, this man of integrity.
Right.
Who, wouldn't compromise his morals.
Yeah.
For money and fame, which, it's a story that
people love that.
It really resonates,
Yeah.
Especially in the wake of the Me Too movement.
Exactly. And so
a lot of sympathy for him.
Yes.
And then this documentary kind of throws a wrench in it.
It throws a wrench. Okay, so because SandraRose.com is saying they've got the tea from the executive producer.
Right, an anonymous executive producer,
Yes.
which, of course, we always have to be a little skeptical of anonymous sources.
Sure.
But the fact that this person is claiming to be
So close to.
involved with the documentary,
Yeah.
right in the thick of it, does lend at least some intrigue.
Okay, so this executive producer is saying, hold on. Christian Keyes did take the car.
Yeah, and not only did he take the car, he was driving it around.
And driving it around.
They're claiming they have registration records and eyewitnesses, so that kind of pokes a hole in his whole,
Now, why would you take the car?
I'm standing by my principles.
Right.
If he was really so against it.
Yeah. And wait, there's more.
There's more.
Okay, so this executive producer also says that they personally saw Keyes and Perry together
Together.
at Oprah's house.
Oprah's estate.
What?
Okay, so
This is sus.
now it's getting good, right?
Yeah.
So if he is so adamant
Yeah.
about rejecting advances, what was he doing?
At a party
At a private event with Tyler Perry.
with Oprah.
It doesn't quite track, does it?
Yeah.
And let's not forget the $100,000.
Yeah. Right? He said he didn't take it.
He claims he refused it.
Yes.
But this executive producer is alleging that that Instagram Live
Uh-huh.
was actually a calculated move,
Oh.
a shakedown for money.
Oh, really?
And they claim that it resulted in a settlement
Okay.
and a non-disclosure agreement,
Oh, so we can't even talk about it.
potentially.
Oh.
So now you've got Keyes potentially silenced by this NDA and an executive producer
Who wants to talk?
who's saying, I'm going to share my firsthand account
Yeah.
in this documentary.
Wow.
So it's shaping up to be
He said, she said.
the ultimate he said, she said.
And with legal stuff on top of it.
Exactly. And this is where things get really interesting from a legal perspective, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because we're talking about and Hollywood power dynamics.
This is crazy, right? Think about it.
It's why.
He goes on Instagram Live.
And it's boom.
Instant support.
Instant support before anything else comes out. It's
Yeah, you're already guilty.
yeah.
It's scary.
It is. It's the court of public opinion.
Right. And it's how do we balance that with, believing people who come forward, but then also making sure
Yeah.
that, it's fair.
Due process all of that,
It's messy.
Yeah. And, this case really, I think, highlights just how much power social media has in shaping these narratives, right? Because his initial Instagram Live went viral.
Huge.
And it kind of everybody was on his side before any of this other stuff came out.
Yeah, and it makes you think about the Me Too movement, too.
Absolutely.
And how it's such a double-edged sword in a way, because on the one hand, it's so important, right? Giving a voice to survivors, holding these abusers accountable. But then you have these situations where it's are we jumping to conclusions?
Right. Are we letting the court of public opinion
Right.
be the judge and jury before we have all the facts?
Exactly. And then you bring in the whole Hollywood aspect of it.
Oh, yeah.
The power dynamics.
Just a whole other layer.
Oh, my God, because you've got Tyler Perry,
Who is a powerhouse.
a mogul, and then you've got
Yeah, and that's his world.
Christian Keyes,
Right.
up-and-coming actor.
Exactly. And so you have to wonder, if someone in Keyes' position
Right.
might feel pressured
To stay quiet.
to stay quiet, to maybe even frame their story in a certain way.
Because look what happened with Harvey Weinstein.
Exactly.
It took how many people coming forward
What do you go, decades.
before something happened?
Right. And so it makes you wonder, Are there other people out there
Right.
who have stories about Tyler Perry
Who are just like
who are afraid to say anything?
terrified.
Right, because this is their livelihood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be blacklisted. They don't want
Yeah.
to.
And then you've got the flip side of that,
Yeah.
where you have someone like Keys who's using social media
He has advantage.
to completely bypass those traditional power structures,
It's like he's getting
control the narrative
straight to the people.
straight to the people.
And it's like you almost can't blame him
Right.
because if he feels like he can't go through the traditional channels.
What other choice does he have?
Exactly.
Right. And so it's like,
It's a mess.
it is. It's messy. It's a mess.
It makes you really think, though, like,
It does.
as much as we love a good story,
Yeah.
we love to gossip. We can't forget that these are real people
Absolutely.
with real lives.
Yeah.
And this is serious stuff.
And there are very real consequences
So sad.
for everyone involved.
So it's a good reminder, I think, for all of us to
Take a step back.
be critical thinkers.
Think critically. Don't just accept everything
Exactly.
you see on social media or in the headlines.
Don't just jump on a bandwagon.
Right. There are always multiple sides to every story.
This whole thing is like a chess game, isn't it?
It really is.
Everyone's trying to, like,
Outmaneuver each other.
outmaneuver each other, control the narrative, and the stakes are so high.
Oh, absolutely.
Careers are on the line, reputations,
Legal ramifications.
millions of dollars, potentially.
Right. And, we talk about the court of public opinion, but there's also the court of law.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this documentary coming out on Thanksgiving.
Oh, my God. Talk about a power move.
It's like, hello, everyone's going to be talking about this.
Everyone's going to be sitting around the table
Right.
talking about.
Pass the gravy. And did you hear about Tyler Perry?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, it's going to be crazy. And then you have to wonder, too, like, what if this documentary comes out?
Right.
And it's like, boom, more people are like, you know what?
I've got a story.
I've got a story.
Yeah.
I've got something to say.
It just opens the floodgates.
And then what happens? I don't know, but
Right. It's like, where does it end?
It's wild. And we'll be here for it.
Oh, we will be here for every single chapter of this saga.
Every plot twist, every dramatic turn.
But until then,
Yes.
I think it's just a good reminder for all of us
Yeah.
to take a deep breath,
Step back.
be compassionate.
Remember, these are real people's lives.
Exactly.
And be careful what you believe and what you spread.
Consume responsibly, people.
There you go. Consume responsibly. Everyone think critically. Until next time for another deep dive by everybody.
The messiest YouTube channel on the planet. The Messy Channel Show with DJ Kelly. Subscribe, like, and share.